I just wish I could blow this picture up bigger.
All right, here we go. All right, let's all right, we're gonna kill the music there. Yeah, I just want to thank my little cousin there, little John Wright. That's his music. He made me some music. I like to have a little music at the beginning of the intro. But welcome to the Wright Flow Show. As you know, every Thursday at 3 p.m., we have the Wright Flow Show. Flow is like you in the zone, like you hit like a couple shots, you feel like you can't miss. You in the flow. Today on the show we have Glen Davis. And as well as we have the Wholesale Diva. The Wholesale Diva going to help me co-host the show. She's going to be asking me and Glen a few questions.
What's going on, America?
Welcome to the show, folks. Well, Go ahead, Diva. Go ahead and take the lead.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. We're so honored to be here with you with our crisis that's going on around the world. We send our prayers out to everyone and their families, first of all. And we advise you to stay in your houses and stay well. I am Jay Gaines, the Wholesale Diva, and I am honored today to be on the broadcast with Mr. Wright and Mr. Glen Davis, two phenomenal entrepreneurial investors. And we're going to talk to them about some of their ideas on what's happening in the real estate investing world with the coronavirus going on. So if you have questions, make sure to post them in the chat section. So as we go along, we can try to answer your questions during the interview. And we're going to get started. So Armand, you're broadcasting live from what state?
I am in Indiana.
Okay. Armand, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the real estate investing world.
Well, I got involved in the real estate game many years ago with my grandfather. Basically, that's all I knew was real estate from the very beginning. He had a couple properties that he had, and now I just watching him over the years, and it's something I always wanted to do.
Okay, and how old were you when you first initially got started in the business?
Well, I mean, my first introduction into the business, as far as helping out my granddad, is probably as long as I can remember. But as far as buying my first property, I bought my first property, I think, when I was like 27.
And do you remember that deal? That was your first deal. You remember that deal? Can you walk us through it?
Oh, well, I mean, my first deal was a deal that I bought that I lived in myself, Okay. So it wasn't really, no real big deal on that one.
And you bought it through conventional means?
Conventional financing. That's pretty much how I started off in the business. I did everything conventional, even though I knew of the owner financing strategies. When I first started off, prior to 08, I did everything conventional, pretty much, getting a loan, buying the investment properties, renting them out. And I did a couple private money deals in order to still get the loan in order to buy the properties. But pretty much I just used banks when I first started off, which I don't.
Now, really, during that timeline, when did you get your real estate? Because I understand you're a real estate agent, right?
Yes, I'm a real estate broker.
Tell us along that timeline, when did you get your real estate license and what prompted you to get a real estate license?
Well, I pretty much acquired all of I had like 40 units, and I pretty much acquired all the units prior to me getting licensed. Okay. And what prompted me to get a real estate license, the real estate agent I was kind of working with, we were going to start a property management company together. And for me to run the property management company, I needed to be licensed. And as well as I was looking at being licensed, having additional income as well. So that's what prompted me to get my license originally.
And how did you transition into, I understand you're doing owner finance, correct?
Yes.
How did you transition and what year did you transition into that?
Well, the transition was kind of like forced upon. And, I hope no one really has to go through that. Back in 08, like I said, I had 40 units at the time, and 08 was pretty devastating. And unfortunately, I know it's quite a few people going to be going through that right now.
Absolutely.
And, once that bank financing was no more of an option, then that pretty much, forced, even though I knew of the owner financing strategies, I didn't use them because, it takes work, right? So I didn't use them, but in '08, in order for me to get in the game, I pretty much had to use, owner financing, wholesaling, those type of deals.
Absolutely. Okay. And you're going to share with us some case studies, and we're going to come back to you on those. But I understand right now that you are a mentor and coach. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you've mentored probably how many students in the last, let's say, 10 years?
10 years. I mean, I mentored quite a few people, but students, I don't have the exact number, but one thing coming across the business, I just try to help out as many people as possible. So unofficially, I've helped out, quite a few people. And then I just back in 2000, and I think it was like maybe 15 or so, that's when I started, actually doing some official coaching. But
and right now you're nationwide now, correct?
Yeah, we coach nationwide. I mean, we offer nationwide, but it's still pretty much a work in progress. Our main source of income for the business is pretty much actually doing the deals, and the coaching part. I mean, that's still something I'm really just trying to improve upon and just and grow that side of the business. But
absolutely,
for the most part, we do deals.
And we're going to come back to you and talk about some case studies that you've done during or coming through the coronavirus or immediately prior to it. So I want to switch over now to Mr. Glen Davis. How you doing, Glen?
I'm doing wonderful down here in wonderful Tampa, Florida. Beautiful day.
Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
And how are things going down there with the virus?
Well, it's they say that the state is on shutdown, but personally, I don't see any difference. I mean, I go out for a walk, run errands or something like that. I'm pretty much working outside the house, but I've always done that anyway, so it's not a big deal.
I heard they shut down the beaches. Is that correct?
Yeah, they ran all of the knuckleheads off the beaches. These kids were out here still having their spring breaks on the beach a couple of weeks ago, and so they kind of showed a picture of that. It kind of shocked the nation, and local authorities came out and shut the beaches down pretty much. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you're still doing deals and everything. So Glen, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the business?
Oh my God. I mean, where do you want to start?
What year?
I guess, my entry into doing multiple properties was, I don't know if you guys know, I ran a housing nonprofit down in New Orleans, where I'm from.
Okay.
New Orleans, Louisiana. And prior to Hurricane Katrina, we built about 31 houses and made them available for sale to low to moderate income home buyers. We sold them all to people who qualified for mortgage, and the average house value, I think, was maybe about $110,000. We were able to put some soft second money in there, of average about $30,000 a family. So these low to moderate income families only had to qualify for about maybe $75,000, $80,000. They were able to walk into a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,400 square foot house, brand new. And if they kept the house for 10 years, their soft second was forgiven. Of course, when Hurricane Katrina came through there in 2005, the money for the for the housing program dried up. So I always tell people that Hurricane Katrina and divorce moved me into Florida.
So you packed up and moved to Florida, huh?
Yeah, I came to Florida after, a few years after Katrina. And, I started getting into the real estate investment game. Actually, when I came here, I was, living very temporarily with my son and daughter-in-law, and they had one of the old CDs that I had was from a Carlton Sheets program. I couldn't find the rest.
Sheets,
I couldn't find the rest of them, so I got online, was doing some stuff, and came across this guy in Indiana, and it's Amon's mentor also, and that's how he and I met and started. We kind of kicked it off and hit it off. Our personalities gelled right off the bat. And, I think that was about I started with Joe Crump, I think, in about 2011,
Okay.
and we kind of been knowing each other ever since. So yeah, and I'm still doing deals down here. Changing some of my marketing strategies, but and incidentally, Armand, whenever we do this, we can refer to ourselves as maybe the three amigos or something. It might be a little marketing strategy that we can use. But I hope to share some things today to show people how to do deals remotely. Because I've closed deals. One of the better ones that I've closed remotely was here in Dunedin about a few years ago, about an hour or so north of Tampa. I never met the buyer, never met the seller, never went to the house, put it under contract, and long and short of it, closed it for on the plus side of $10,000 profit. So,
all right, Glenn. Before you give away the spoiler, wait. I'm gonna come back to you, and we're gonna talk in detail about that deal. Okay?
Sounds great.
So, when did you get your real estate license?
About 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago. Actually, Armand talked me into getting my license. I was doing deals.
After you relocated to Florida, correct?
Oh yeah. I was doing deals here as an investor, and he kept bugging in my ear until I went and got my license.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So we're gonna come back to Mr. Ahmad here and give us a brief, detailed synopsis of a deal that you closed that was a deal that really sticks out, that stays on your mind. And on a finance deal, walk us through the numbers, how you got the deal, how you negotiated.
An owner financing deal?
Absolutely.
One that sticks out.
One that comes to your mind immediately.
Yeah, I would say one of my own personal ones. I mean, it's several examples, but say we have one house that we acquired, paid all cash for it. Needed quite a bit.
Give us the numbers.
Paid $28,000 for it.
Okay, 28 cash.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
And we end up putting I would say probably another 20,000 into it.
So now you're in the whole deal for 48K, right?
Right.
Okay.
So owner financed it out over 30-year period at 9.9% interest.
And what was your initial down payment you got from the buyer?
They put down $5,000.
$5K. And what was the monthly? Because it was free and clear because you bought it cash, right?
Right.
Okay.
$750 a month for 30 years.
Okay. Now the 20,000 that you put in for the rehab, was that a loan from a lender or that was your personal money? Personal.
I mean, for me personally, I had a long discussion yesterday with a guy about doing the subject to transactions. I mean, if you could structure a killer deal, I'm down with it. Killer deal, or you get involved with the private money. As far as doing the subject to transactions, I'm with that. But my motto, what I do a lot of deals. I mean, a lot of deals, and basically what I do with the profits is, of course, you got to take care of your basic needs, but right. Then I take the profits. I take a lion's share of the profits and reinvest them, and then then owner financing.
So basically, the whole 48,000 was your investment, correct?
Yeah, and then we owner finance it out.
That was a personal investment, and you put it on a 30-year note with 9-point-something% interest.
Yeah,
so that was a great deal. How did you find this deal?
Well, I have realtors, people bring me deals. I used to be a correction officer for like 3 years, and I'm doing a deal now in Ohio with a guy I used to be officer with, and I have one of my students going there, checking it out. So I get people bringing me deals for the vast majority of it. And also, I'm a big fan of cold calling. I love cold calling. So I pick deals up that way as well. So that's like my number one strategy is cold calling.
I was going to say, let's talk for a second about cold calling. Is that a technique that you find that really works?
Absolutely. That's probably the core piece of my business.
Because I would think now with the coronavirus and everything that as opposed to really so much driving for dollars, because they got a lot of states have, constrictions now on, what time you have to be in the house and all that. So as opposed to some of the old techniques that we've used in real estate investing, cold calling, because you're sitting at home in your house using your phone, correct?
Right.
So would you suggest that to people that want to still continue doing deals during the virus?
Not just suggest. I mean, the way I teach it, that is, that's a core piece of it. I don't the driving for dollars, the mailers. I know they got the ringless voicemail messages. You got different software. That's not my thing. My thing, if you want to do a deal, you pick up the phone and you start talking to folks.
And you cold call. Okay.
And then the other thing too, as far as like a script and things like that, I mean, you don't really need all of that. I mean, you just need to have the courage to pick up the phone and then keep doing it. Even when people say no, even when people say hell no, you just keep going. Yeah. And that's how
let's go back over to you, Glenn. Now, Glenn, I understand that you're a big proponent of dealing with landlords. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we're going to go into one of your case studies.
Well, I don't know if it's so much landlords, but lease options. I do, rent to own and lease options, and most of the deals that I've had have been, people that were looking to rent their properties as opposed to those that are looking to sell. I mean, I've done some on both sides, from people that are looking to sell the house to people that are looking to rent the house. But I've been more successful with lease options or rent to owns with landlords, people that were initially looking to rent out the house, and I call them also maybe from Craigslist or something like that with a cold call, and just, ask them. It's just something that Amon and I learned together under our mutual mentor. Basically, I see your house for rent. Would you consider selling the house, rent to own, as opposed to just renting it? And of course, you're going to get a lot of no's, and all that. But as long as you can dive and go through the no's, you come across the occasional, tell me more about it. I don't know how that works or anything like that. And then you proceed to tell the people how that works, and you show them the benefits of lease optioning the house as opposed to just renting it. And the benefits are many.
Now, for the sake of argument, let's assume that we have some people on the call now, watching us live, that are new to the game, and they don't know the difference between rent to own, lease option, and owner finance. Can you give us your synopsis, Glenn, on what a rent to own or lease option is as opposed to what Ahmad does?
Yeah, well, a lease option or rent to own is where, there's two parts of it. One is how I get the deal from the owner, and then how I market the deal. Okay, so the first part of it is, let's say they have somebody that's looking to rent their house out. Let's say they're looking for $1,500 a month, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, that sort of thing. And so I might run across a lead, say on Craigslist or something like that. And, I'll call the owner, also cold calling, and ask them, would they consider rent to own, which is the street name for a lease option.
Okay.
And then, explain to the owner that there's several benefits to them to do that. For one, that if they were to rent the property out, they would probably get the $1,500 first month rent and a $1,500 deposit. And so on a lease option side, they would get the $1,500 first month, but also they would get the $1,500 instead of it being a deposit, a refundable deposit. It's an option fee, which means that if the people don't exercise the option, then that fee is not returned. The landlord keeps that. So they see that, and from a greed perspective, they see that that's possibly more money in their property. Then I explain to them that typically this individual that's going to be a lease option tenant/buyer is going to take better care of the property than would a regular tenant. They intend to buy the house, so they're gonna take better care of it because one day they want to be the owner of the house. The other thing is that after a certain dollar amount, maybe after say the first $500 of maintenance, let me restate that, they would take care of the maintenance on the house up to maybe the first $500. After $500, then the owner would be responsible. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is that they're responsible for all maintenance on the house. They're buying it as is.
As is.
Okay, so somebody will say, well, suppose a family moved in there and the AC unit, central AC unit went out, and there was a $4,000 repair or replacement on the unit, and they didn't have that. What would you do then? Well, you would approach the owner and say, well, if you decide to repair it, we can take that $4,000 and tack it on to the end when they go to buy the house. Instead of it being, say, $150,000, now it's $154,000 that they would pay. So there's all different types of ways to get around and show people the benefits of being a lease option seller as opposed to just renting the house.
Okay, well, that makes absolute sense. Now, Armand, how's that different from what you do? And then I'm going to go back to Glen for his case study.
Well, it's not so much different. I mean, we pretty much learned under the same guys, with Joe and Lou. We pretty much learned under the same people. So pretty much what he does, I mean, I do pretty much the same thing. What I usually do, I usually hit the for sale side first, and usually exhaust through those leads, and then go to the for rent side second.
Okay. But you're saying both of you gentlemen do basically the same thing. It's just got different names. Is that correct? No,
it's the same name, the same process. We were taught from the same guys. We pretty much do the same.
Okay, I'm a little bit confused. Why is something called owner finance and then something called lease option? Why are there different names or titles if it's the same process?
Well, an owner finance can be where the owner is selling the property and holds the paper on it. Okay. And so they are in fact the mortgage company, so to speak. But what I try to point out to people that want to maybe carry a note on a property is that in my opinion, it's easier to do a lease option as opposed to a straight up owner financing, because of the fact that if a tenant buyer defaults on a property that's owner financed, then the owner has to go and foreclose on a property on the tenant buyer, which is a much more difficult and lengthy process than just having to evict them. Under a lease option, if it's set up correctly, then in the same scenario, if the tenant buyer defaults on it, then they don't pay their rent or whatever. It's a simple matter of eviction as opposed to having to foreclose on a property. So eviction is just a very simple matter to go to court and get them evicted for non-payment of rent. Owner financing is foreclosing, which is a much more difficult process.
That makes sense.
So, and so I'll let the owner know that if they're thinking about carrying paper, and then let them choose, what they think. And many of them will see that.
In fact, two separate contracts that are done on the lease option. Is there a lease and then an option contract?
Yes, it's different paperwork.
That makes sense. Okay. So Glen, tell us about one of your case studies that stands out in your mind that you remember.
Well, one case study is a good one for this situation that we were in that you can do this from your own home. You don't have to necessarily go out to the house and that sort of thing. One would be here in a house that I did in Dunedin, Florida, which is about 45 minutes an hour north of Tampa. And so this house, actually at the time, I had my sister in California. She needed a little bit of extra income, so I had her acting as a
property locator.
Yeah, she was just doing acting as a VA, a virtual assistant. So I gave her the script. I taught her the script, and she just has a kindly way about her, the way that she talks with people. And so I had her going. I taught her how to go through Craigslist and all of that sort of stuff. And I had her following the script. I was paying her X amount per hour. She beat me up for a dollar fee. She wouldn't take, she could have made more money looking back on it had she taken the bonus. But I paid her $1 fee, and so she came across this lead. Okay, the guy was in Dunedin, and he wanted to lease his house out for $18.50 a month. Now, I never saw this house.
Okay.
It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom pool house. It had a pool in the backyard. Very nice home, and the going rent was $18.50 a month. And I think he wanted to sell it for, I believe the numbers were maybe about $230 or something like that. And so the guy had the house for rent. She contacted him and she said, well, if you'd consider this, and she talked to him a few times, then, I'd have you talk to my brother who was actually down there in Florida, blah, blah, blah. And so, I talked to the guy and he didn't understand it. I explained it to him and he said, sure, he would consider that. And so actually the guy, he found a tenant.
Okay.
And so he found a tenant for the house. And I said, well, listen, that's fantastic. If it doesn't work out, I'd still be interested. And so I left and I was going back to New Orleans for a little while. And I got off the plane in New Orleans and it was in the morning. I stopped to have a little breakfast at this restaurant. As I was getting out of my rental car, the phone rang, and it's this guy on the phone. Remember me? My name is, let's call him Bill. This is Bill. I have the house. Oh yeah, Bill, how you doing?
Now, Glenn, how much time passed in between when he rented it out and when you got this phone call?
He didn't rent it out. See, the tenant that he had to rent fell through.
Okay.
So he called me to say that the tenant fell through. Mm-hmm. Was I still interested? I said, absolutely. Okay. I was in New Orleans about 10, 12 days, maybe 2 weeks. And during that process, I got the paperwork to him and we worked the deal out on paper. Okay. My plan was when I came back to Florida to start marketing it. But initially, I just, after we got all the paperwork together, I put it out there on Craigslist, and there was another site we used to use. I think Zillow or somebody bought them, and put my marketing out there online. I was planning on coming back to the area, going to the house, take pictures, put up signs and all that sort of stuff. Well, he had sent me some pictures of the house, so I had that. When I got back into Tampa, it was maybe a Thursday evening. I was going to go out the next day and put it out, but I was tired from traveling. So I said, well, let me just put my marketing out there next week. Lo and behold, over the weekend, I got a call from a couple that was relocating here from Chicago and were, looking for a house.
Okay.
So we learned under Jill how to screen these people. Most people that call you don't have the money. And so we learned how to screen these people. That I asked them, how much do you have, blah, blah, blah. So they had 10,000. Well, one of the things that Jill teaches us is that, if you had 10,000 plus the first month's rent, $18.50, we might be able to work. So she said, well, it will take us a couple of weeks to get the other $18.50. I said, fine. So they sent me a certified check of $10,000. And they were going to send another $18.50. Instead of 2 weeks, it took them 3 weeks. I got the second check for $18.50. Long story short, I never went out to the house. I had the owner to show it to them. So you have to be careful how you deal with that, because you don't want the owner and a tenant buyer to try to get your numbers or strike a different deal. And so I instructed both of them. I said, listen, tell the owner, Bill, listen, Bill, this couple is coming to look at the house. I screened them. They're pretty good, blah, blah, blah. But listen, don't show them the house, but don't talk numbers with them, okay? I'll take care of that part of it. Sure. And then I instructed the buyers the same way. Listen, you're going to look at this house. The guy's very nice, but listen, don't talk numbers with him. I'll work that out with him and we'll get the deal done. So they went out, looked at the house. They loved it. Neither one of them talked numbers. I worked the deal out. And so I gave the owner, he was looking for, the $18.50 a month plus his deposit. And so the deposit came a non-refundable option fee of $18.50. And so I paid him the first month's rent plus the $18.50 deposit. So he got, now the people put down $10,000 plus $18.50, so that's $11,000, $850 to
Okay.
put down. He got 3,700 of that. So
Okay.
11,800 minus 3,700 was my profit. I think it came a little bit over
Eight something.
yeah, $8,000. And so, you know, and it worked out. Now the couple wound up defaulting on it. You know, they weren't married, but they had a kid and they got into a split or whatever. So they after a year and a half or so, they defaulted on it because I believe they had a 2 or 3 year option to buy it. They didn't buy it, so they lost the money that they had put down on the property.
Absolutely.
And the owner, instead of selling it, he and his family decided to move back into that house. So
And keep it.
you know, yeah, that was a deal. And that I bring that up because I never met the owner, I never met the buyer. I never went to the house. I never saw the property till today. I never saw that property.
That's phenomenal.
And it was all done remotely. And that's how you can do deals today with this virus out here.
Virus going on.
You can do deals over the internet, over the phone,
That's
without
a great
having to
case study.
physically visit the property.
Absolutely. That's a great case study. And I hope people are taking notes. Armand, can you see if we have any people on here asking us any questions or anything yet?
You know, I just I just had somebody notify me that on the YouTube that the whatever reason the chat was disabled, so it's back on.
What about are we on Facebook?
Facebook, yeah, Facebook. I haven't seen anything come through as of yet.
Okay, all right then. So let me open the floor now and ask you gentlemen some questions, and then you each can take a moment and answer each one of the questions. So in both of your professional opinions, with everything that's going on with the virus and the social distancing, staying 6 feet apart and all that, what would be the primary way that you all would suggest that people should start doing real estate investment deals now? And Armand, I'll start with you first.
Well, I mean, I know we got the situation that's going on right now, but the way me and Glen was pretty much taught the business is like a perfect fit for what we currently going through. I mean, we were taught to pretty much do majority of it, if not all of it. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was mentioned we supposed to do it all remotely.
Remote, yeah.
I do the most of it, but I still occasionally, get more involved. But yeah, so the way we were taught the business, I mean, I think is this a good practice, not just for now, but I think it's going to be, going forward that people should do more techniques as far as doing deals virtually.
Exactly. Glen, your take on that?
Well, I think in terms of marketing, everything that I've been getting has been market, because as we are now with this situation, with this coronavirus, COVID-19 thing going around and people being laid off and all of that sort of thing, there's going to be a lot of people out there that have a property that maybe they have a lot of equity in the property if they don't just own it outright, that are going to be cash strapped. They're going to need cash and they'll be looking to get rid of that property. And so, we can either get the deal and wholesale it or lease option it or what have you. So the premise is that, or the idea is to just put out a ton of marketing out there. And I was sharing with Armand, I came across this software that I've been using to put out a lot of marketing. You can build a little list from it and all of that, and put that out, and it sends out text messages to people. And text messages go directly to somebody's cell phone, and most of the people are gonna ignore it, B, respond to it saying that they're not interested, or C, yes, I'm interested, or tell me more, that sort of thing. And so that can develop a lot of leads. But in addition to that, you got to get back on into Armand's favorite thing, and that's getting on the phone and cold calling them. So this software identifies the phone numbers for people, and it has a little a tracer on it, skip tracer, which traces their cell phone numbers and all of that. From my experience in from my study of it, it seems to be pretty accurate.
Okay.
And so you can get on there and follow up with the phone call, the cold calling, or even now you might call it warm calling. It might not be so cold,
Right.
but you can follow up with that and try to get a deal as well.
Now it seems like both of you are in agreement with how to mine for leads for sellers. Talk to us about, and each one of you can take a moment to address this. Talk to us about how you mine or how you find buyers for these deals.
Yeah, I'll take the lead on that one. As far as the sellers, that's pretty much we share a lot of that information and give that away. But the way we go about for our buyers, and pretty much the way we were taught the game, that's our priority. That's our business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's our business. That's how we make our money. And in some cases, we're able to find buyers in less than 24 hours, from the time we get the house under contract, unless I've done them in the same day. And that's what makes our business so unique. Guys, I had a coaching call that I kind of double booked. Hold on one second. Well, go ahead. You guys go ahead.
Okay, Glenn.
Yeah. Tell me again, restate the question for me.
You guys seem to agree on how you find your sellers. How do you find buyers for these properties?
Well, there's two different things. Okay, for one, so if you're looking for a buyer for a lease option property, then you're looking for a family that's looking to move into a house. If you're looking
okay, let's address during the coronavirus. Are people actually still out there looking to move into houses?
Well, if somebody has to have some place to live, they got to have some place to live. And so people are still going out and looking at houses, and there's ways that you can protect them. For example, let's say that the house is vacant. You can put a lockbox on the house. You qualify the people. You got to be very careful if you give somebody access to a house with a lockbox.
Right.
You have to make sure you qualify them, make sure they have the correct funds, all that sort of thing. Make sure you can cover your tracks because you don't want to be liable for that. But if the house is occupied, then it's a different technique that you would use, especially in this situation, to get them to view the house. So you would talk to the owner. If the owner is still willing, then you could set it up to where you send the people over to the house. Let's say you set it up for 11 o'clock. They're going to go and view the house. You arrange for the owner and their family to be out of the house. You can either meet the people there at the house, provide them with, the little gloves and the face covering, if you would, to have them go in the house, and you can stay outside and give them the space to go into the house. Now, in these situations, you're working with somebody. This is a family going in the house. Your owner is not going to leave any valuables. Put all the family jewels and the cash and all that kind of stuff away. You don't want to have anything exposed that somebody can walk out with.
Right.
And then have them do a walk through the house. Make sure that they, don't touch anything or try not to touch things. But they give them gloves and all of that. And then once they come out of the house, you have them to dispose of that. And if they like the property, you can still move through with the closing or whatever on the house, to have them do that. Or if it's a a buyer that's going to buy a wholesale deal, you can do the same thing. If it's vacant, it's very easy to show the house. If the house is occupied, again, you can do the same process and have your buyer go through there, or have the buyer's inspector to go through there and do the house. So, just kind of making sure that you cover your bases, you have people protected and all of that, but you can still do deals. This economy is not coming to a standstill. If somebody has money and they want a property and that property is available and you have a willing seller and a willing buyer, you can still close the deal. You can close it with a title company. They can do it remotely. The title company that I work with here, they can close deals remotely, or they can go to the people and have them do it through the car window, what have you. So,
and that was going to be my next question to you guys. Do you work with title companies that do nationwide, or are they specific to your state?
Yeah, I've got both. I've got access to nationwide, and then there's a preferred title company that I use locally here in Florida.
Okay, and what about you, Ahmad?
I usually use a title company that's local for the area, or use an attorney that's local to the area.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So you guys didn't want to divulge your secret. That's your big secret, your gold ticket on how you get your leads for your buyers. And I can respect that. I can respect that.
But the one thing, though, just to add a little transparency, the biggest hurdle in the game is pretty much working with the seller. Because, that's going to be the biggest thing as far as once you get that part, the buyer part is pretty easy. But the way we do with the buyers is, once you get it, you pretty much got it. And actually, I've been getting a couple messages from my team. I guess I probably should have dealt with them on here. It's just the way that we do things. We do a lot of deals, and the other guys are remotely, and they're together we all make it happen. So I'll probably do another video with having them on here so they could go ahead and toot their horn.
I was gonna say absolutely. Let's do a series of videos here, because I'm sure everybody during this coronavirus, everybody's stuck in the house. They have nothing else to do but watch our lives. So let's do a series of videos, maybe once a week or something like that, and maybe do some live calls, some cold calls. You can role play with your team or whatever. But let's empower and educate people so that when this coronavirus lets up, which we're assuming and praying that it will, that we can do a live seminar in Tampa. We had talked last year about doing that. So as a segue and a lead into that, we're going to give out so much free information on these informational calls and videos that we're doing. And then we'd love to have everybody come join us in Tampa, Florida, for maybe a 1 or 2 day boot camp where we share with them more detailed information on how to do these type of deals.
Yeah, it's not only that. We're continuing to do deals. So if somebody has a deal, let's say that somebody's in Michigan, and they have a deal down here in Florida and they want to work it. My area, I'm in the Tampa Bay area, which is Hillsborough County, but I'll expand out also to neighboring counties, Pasco, which is Wesley Chapel, Newport Richey, Port Richey, Holiday, and all of that. Polk County, which is Lakeland, Winter Haven, and all of that. And also St. Pinellas County, which is St. Petersburg, Clearwater. If they've got a deal and they want to get in contact and, let's try to work the deal out. We can still get it done here while this situation is going on. Don't hold your deal. Get in contact with me. If you want me to give you my contact information, I can do that through email or whatever.
Put all the contact information in the notes. Can you do that for us, Ahmad, before broadcast? Okay. So I understand that both of you guys are open to joint venture projects with other.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
All right. So we want to put that in the notes, Ahmad, for people if they're interested and they have a potential deal, and even if they really don't know what they're doing, they can joint venture with you guys, because you guys are like vets in this business. So they can joint venture with you guys and get the deal done, correct? If it's something in Florida, something in Indianapolis, or Ahmad, you work 2 or 3 other states also, is that correct?
We do the whole country, just like I just had it's a gentleman named Marcus. I don't know if he's on here or not, but he's actually in your area, Glen. He's down there in Tampa. We had a scheduled call for 3:30, but we usually only do the shows for a half an hour. So he is scheduled.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did we go over time?
We good. I told him I'd hit him back here in 20 minutes, but definitely we get to working on something. We probably tag you in down there in Florida. And then I got a good friend of mine up in Michigan. He's a real estate agent, a real estate broker, and a contractor up there in Michigan, a guy named Anthony Leggins. In Michigan, they kind of changed the rules as far as conducting real estate business. So I just added the final touches earlier today, and I'm going to roll it out to him. And I was trying to run a Facebook ad where I can target some other agents up there where they can do deals remotely, because as licensees, we can receive a fee, from a real estate transaction that we're not involved in through other agents throughout the country. So I got a program where agents that's in certain areas where, they have tighter guidelines, they can network with other agents in other areas. and where they can still have some income coming in. So I'm going to be rolling that out pretty aggressively just to try to, help as many people as possible. And of course, as well. But
that's great. Yeah. Well, I've got a Michigan deal also. I'll hold it for next week and tell you about how I did that one remotely. So that's a good one. Made a nice profit off of that one also. It's an ongoing deal I have in Michigan.
Yeah, not so much from the investor side. I'm saying as far as, real estate agents, from this really specifically looking to work with real estate agents in one area, partnering them with other agents in other areas where they have some looser guidelines where the other agents, like say here in Indiana, we can still do business here. Like say we can still close deals with title companies. We can still close our owner financing deals, which in Michigan is pretty much shut down. Nothing's happening. So those type of agents can work with agents here in Indiana. And then it's it's like maybe about 12 states where it's still some activities going on. And basically what I'm looking to do is connect the agents that want to be connected from the areas that have the tighter restrictions to the agents in the other areas so they can still, do business. Because, if this is your livelihood, you're pretty much shut down. Some people have the savings or whatever, the other additional incomes where you kind of make the two ends meet. But if that's not you pretty much need to be in the game, So that's what I'm looking to make happen for as many agents as possible, where they can work with other agents and still make money during this time while we shut down, which we don't know how long this is going to last. Some people saying, another month, but some people saying it could be a year to 18 months. So for a year to 18 months, that could be devastating for some people.
Exactly.
And Ahmad, could you just elaborate quickly on us what's going on in Michigan? I heard you mention it 2 times, but those of us that don't know.
In Michigan, as far as just comparing Michigan to Indiana, the real estate agents and real estate brokers here in Indiana, they call us essential. Well, we can still pretty much do business.
Function.
We still want to, have the social distancing and all that, be safe and things like that. But we can still, close transactions and things like that. But up in Michigan, it's pretty much a wrap. They can't show houses, they can't do anything. So in a state like that, if this is your
for them, correct? You have a plan you're going to roll out for them that will allow them to still do deals.
Yeah, in states like in Michigan and other states as well, where they can still do deals, kind of remotely. Even though here we can still kind of operate a little bit, but it's some people that they just don't feel comfortable doing that. Rightfully so. And it can help people here as well. In other states, just showing them there's other ways where you can get transactions done and still be able to make money.
And let me ask you kind of a free-flowing question. This might not have been brought up, but I'm sure it's on a lot of people's minds. The processes that both of you gentlemen are talking about, is this something that can be done by wholesalers also? Or is this just limited to real estate agents?
Well, what I'm talking about is investing in general. You don't need a license to be an agent to do what I'm talking about doing. Even though I am a licensed agent, when I do a deal that doesn't have anything to do with my license, it's all about disclosure. And so I disclose to people on the agreement. If I do a lease option agreement that has nothing to do with my brokerage, I disclose on them that yes, I'm a licensed agent. However, this is my license number, but this deal has nothing to do with my license. And so it's all about full disclosure.
Okay. Armand, your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Traditional wholesalers, my take on it, pretty much, again, how we were taught the game, wholesaling, like, so you got these tools of how you make money in real estate. You got the wholesaling, the subject to, multi-mortgage, land contracts, wholesaling, then my unique one-way street method that I use. But so you got all these different tools. So wholesaling is just one tool in the toolbox. So you got all these other tools. So you've got the whole gamut. So anybody can do it, whether you're licensed or non-licensed. But what we offer is just pretty much the whole set of tools in order to help solve that seller's problem. And that's what we're looking to do, is just, solve as many problems as possible. And the problem that's, forefront on my mind is that, throw back there the Michigan with the with their different situations, just looking to help solve those real estate agents, real estate brokers' problem with their, their income disruption, and just, show them other ways where they can, make some money.
So if I'm hearing you gentlemen correctly, when you're dealing with a seller, it just depends on what option or what will work for them or what will work for the deal. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right then. Well, this has been great. This information has been great that we've shared today. I hope that our viewers got a lot of valuable information from what we're talking about. And again, we want you to stay safe during the coronavirus. Any last parting words, Armand?
Well, I'm thinking, you allow me and Glenn to share our info, but I think you'll be shortchanging the people if you don't just tell them just a little snippet about the Wholesale Diva. This lady is amazing. I mean, she's been asking us a lot of questions, but and then, that's all. It's all good. I mean, we appreciate that, but this lady is truly amazing. She has a wealth of talent, not only in real estate, but in coaching other businesses, array of just life history of doing businesses. I think if you just don't give the public just a little teaser, I think you'd be doing them a disservice. Just a little teaser. Give them a little bit.
This interview today wasn't about me. It was to exalt you, gentlemen, and let the public know what you do and what you're offering. We could do a whole nother session about me. I'd like today to be about you guys.
All right. So you guys heard it right from the Wholesale Diva. If we go do a show, we can't have us in it. It's got to be this solely her for a whole hour. You know what I mean? She's gonna be her for a whole hour.
Yeah, I agree. And let's keep this thing going. Maybe every week on the program that you had scheduled, Armand. Let me just take a little brief minute here. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I don't know if you guys know, but Ellis Marcellus, who's Winton Marcellus and Branford Marcellus's dad, passed yesterday or today. And so I just wanted to give shout outs and prayers and thoughts to the family. Ellis taught me when I was a student at Xavier University in New Orleans. So, and he was a good friend and mentor, and 85, 86 years old, the pianist and the father and leader of the Marcellus clan. He passed. I think it may have been related to this virus that we're talking about. I'm not certain.
Yeah, we want to send our prayers out to the family.
Absolutely.
And our condolences. Absolutely. So, Armand, did you have any closing remarks for our viewers?
Next week, stay tuned in to the Wright Flow show, and more than likely we can do this more than once a week. So maybe we hop on a different day, maybe a little earlier, and then that way we had a Wright Flow show still dropping it on every Thursday at 3 p.m. But I guess in closing remarks, what day would you guys like to hop back on here?
I mean, I'm open. I mean, we're stuck in the house. What else do we
Yeah, I'm open also. Whatever works for you guys is fine with me.
Okay, well, you guys stay tuned. I'll be posting it up on the social media platforms, letting you know when we will do another one. We might even do these a couple of times a week because, like I said, me and Glenn, we doing our thing as far as the wholesaling, the seller, the owner financing deals. But we would be doing you guys a great disservice if we didn't let the Wholesale Diva educate you guys on all these different business ventures. Pretty much, my thing is pretty much lease options, land contracts. We do quite a few deals with my team. I really like to get my daughter on here so she can kind of share what she does. She's been messaging me like I probably got 15 messages since we've been on here. I've offered her the opportunity to get on here. I think she's going to take a chance to get on live with me. But with you guys, I think we could do like a couple of these because there's just so many different areas that business owners need help with. And I think, with the Wholesale Diva, I mean, I think she can help out a lot of different people, not just in business, but and not just in real estate, but in business as well. I mean, she just has an array of experience, and I think it'd be very, very helpful for the audience. What would you like to say about that?
No comment. This is about you all. Okay, Glenn, closing remarks.
You gotta give her ID out, Amon. You can't keep calling her the Wholesale Diva. Her name is Jay Gaines, Jamila Gaines. She goes by Jay Gaines. and she's in the she's moved and relocated from the Dallas area to the Phoenix, Arizona area. So she's locking up the state of Arizona right now, doing a lot of a lot of women business deals and all of that. So yeah, we look forward to the next several weeks. You guys look forward to hearing from the three amigos, and we'll see if we can keep you guys interested and into, and maybe even earning a few dollars while we're in this lockdown period.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. We you know, we're still doing deals. I mean, we have one come together yesterday, the first part of it. We placed a tenant yesterday. We got another deal possibly going down later on today. I got one of my students checking out a deal in Ohio. So, and it just got a lead on one of the deals we got there in Houston. So we constantly, you know, doing business. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, I'm a real estate coach. I was just having a conversation with actually earlier on the show with you. I'm a real estate coach, but my main source is doing deals. I mean, my thing is speed, man. I just try to, you know, contact the seller, get the agreement as fast as possible, and just try to close the transaction as fast as possible. That's what me and my team, we're pretty aggressive about this, just doing things pretty aggressively.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you, Glen from Tampa, and
absolutely, yeah,
from Indianapolis and Anderson, Indiana.
Yes. Yeah, maybe we can give some thought to perhaps Tuesday, Amon. So let's give some thought on that. Just getting back on here on Tuesday.
Yeah, that sounds good. I got a 5 o'clock every Tuesday, but you know,
yeah, we can do something a little earlier.
3 o'clock is fine. 3 o'clock is fine.
Okay. All right.
And we're gonna blast this out on. We're gonna share it out on Facebook to all of our followers, each of the three of us, to all of our followers, so they can watch it and be tuned in. And so our next broadcast, Ahmad, you're gonna post it on Facebook and everything, and let everybody know when we're gonna be broadcasting again live. And put all of our contact information down in the comments section for everyone. If anyone wants to reach out to any of us for whatever reason, or for some tutoring or coaching or some advice or anything along those lines, we'd be glad to share that with them. Again, we want everyone to stay safe during this coronavirus outbreak. As a former nurse, you guys know I'm definitely going to tell you, you know, keep yourself safe during the virus outbreak. Don't take it for granted. Don't assume, oh, it's not going to happen to me. I was watching yesterday, Mayor Bottoms, I believe from Atlanta, and she was speaking about how she got out in her vehicle and drove along Martin Luther King Boulevard. You know, they have Martin Luther King Boulevard in every city. Yeah. And she said she was just shocked that all the African Americans were hanging out at the barber shops. They were sitting out in front of their houses. You know, they was out chilling, playing dominoes and spades and drinking 40 ounces and sharing the 40 ounces. And she said, are they not aware that this is a serious thing? So guys, don't take this for granted. Don't assume, oh, I'm black, it's not going to happen to me. It has no color barriers. So guys, be safe, take care of yourselves. And I want to thank Ahmad and Glen for being on the broadcast today. Ahmad for hosting the broadcast for us from your studios in Indianapolis. And we will see you guys on our next broadcast. Until then, be safe. Namaste.
Yeah, Aman, when you post that information, the contact information, hit me up and I'll give you the email address and the business phone number to post, okay?
Okay.
Just text me before you post it.
Yeah, just text it to me.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, guys. All righty. All right.
All right. Hey, I just want to give it up to my little cousin there, little John Wright, man. This little music he put together for me. All right. The Wright Flow Show. We went just about a full hour, folks. And we be back on here Tuesday. And we're going to jump on Thursday as well. So stay tuned until next week. Peace. Be safe out there.